baseball and nuclear energy. Is this the right? Is this like the white picket fence?
Energy.
Yeah.
I like the tag sale sign out of
And that's the bar, Mariah.
Oh shit. There's a bar.
Yeah.
You're so lucky. I want to travel all
Where?
over the
On the corner. I think that's what he was talking about.
Right.
I keep telling my husband we need to get the fuck out of here.
I never once told an employee you can't talk to the press. I love it at Indian Point. It's non-rush hour types, you know, river traffic. Like a quiet nuclear plant. People are going to make mistakes. Equipment is going to fail. It's a reality. I don't care how perfect you are. I'm not a technical person. There's an element of judgment, and sometimes there's a mistake, but that mistake is a delayed time in replacing a piece of equipment, and the consequence for that is close down and fix it. Not the plant's going to blow up and everyone's going to die. We like to fancy ourselves as a learning institution.
10 years later, we're still cleaning up after 9/11. I'm proud to be an American, but we are not as resilient as Japan.
At the Buchanan Plank Elementary School, the parents sign off papers to have them give iodine pills to the kids. I want a nice world for my son to grow up in.
I've never met so many people in my life who have cancer until I moved here. Maybe it's a New York thing. Never had my problems with my period until I moved here either. Are you kidding? They do their fireworks and they build their baseball fields for the boys to play on. Of course they do these things.
I've never seen any fireworks.
Or something could always happen. But I can't let that lead my life. There are 3 types of people in this world. Paranoid, naive, and cautious. I can't even believe what I see on TV. I prepare for the best and expect the worst.
You have to know where people are coming from. And you know, some of it can be super simplistic. My background, I represented big corporations for 20 years. Do you want to know what dirty laundry is? I was in the middle sorting it. I, as a litigator for 10 years in the Pentagon for human fraud cases, Wall Street, RICO, I like to consider myself unlikely nuclear activist. I was basically one of those people, green, you know, tree hugger people, but, you know, like, there's no way all the scientists and the smart government could be putting so many people at risk. No way.
The NEI, I don't know if you guys have run into the NEI yet. They're the most powerful lobbyists in Washington. They have more money than any other lobbyists, and they go to the NRC meetings, and the NRC basically does what they tell them to do.
Now, what would give nuclear power, which is a very small industry, so much political power? Weapons!
Weapons! That's why we have nuclear in this country. It's all for our weapons program. All of it's a weapons program. That's it. Period. All of the spent fuel in this country right now can be weaponized. At Indian Point, right now, has 18,000 tons of spent fuel. And you multiply that by 103, of course, it's an older plant, so there's more, but a ton of it is weaponizable. It's not weaponizable yet, but...
And more significantly, the industry that breeds the knowledge and the equipment, it's the same industry. And keep in mind that it came from the absolute best intentions. It really did.
My recollection is you're probably getting more than that if you're a flight attendant. I think 100 millirems is less than what you get for a whole year of radiation. In general, we're able to build much, much safer plants now than we were able to build 40 years ago. I think right now we're stuck in a worst of all possible situations because you have a couple of reasonable choices. You can take places like Indian Point and say, let's shut them down. We're not going to renew them. Let's shut them down. Or you can say, Indian Point has come to the end of its originally intended life anyway. Let's shut it down and build a new, safer plant.
Half my town works there. 1 in 4 houses are powered there. it's scary, I don't think about them. I don't care if it's death. There is something there. Something in the water, something in the air. I'm the first one to go if it blows up.
Well, I'm all the way up in Brewster, and if it blows up, everything will be green and I'll have cancer.
I think that they don't believe that we'd spend $1.5 billion in cooling towers and that we'd rather shut the plant down. If you call them, tell them that, because guess what? I wouldn't believe everything I said either. Check it. Check everything. We spend $75 million paying taxes and revenue to New York State, and $25 million in local taxes to local school districts, and $130 million in salaries.
Till this day, there is no solution for the waste. There's no way to basically transmute the waste so it becomes benign again. The waste will stay radioactive for 2,400 years, the plutonium, which is the basic essence of this.
Instead, we're stuck between two visions of where we're going to go with our energy future. Instead, we keep extending the licenses of these nuclear plants that are old and develop wear and tear as time goes on and become less.
There's always going to be a problem. You know, my grandmother lived in a bad part of New York all her life, never had any problems. When she moved to South Carolina, because of the low crime rate, she was mugged by a transvestite. Every town has its problems.
Sometimes the gates are wide open. You know the limestone quarry? The Verplank quarry? Entergy owns it. Kids go swimming in it. And there's always a hole in the fence. Someone died 2 years ago. A 17-year-old boy. He fell and hit his head the wrong way and died. His parents tried to sue for negligence, but he wasn't under 14, so...
In the case of a major release, they're not giving medication now. I'm sort of guessing, but I would be quite sure. Suppose there is a Fukushima-type disaster. One of the things that gets released is radioactive iodine. Radioactive iodine will get concentrated in the thyroid, particularly in little kids, and has the potential to cause thyroid cancer. The kind of way you deal with this is, in a crisis, that you give people that have been exposed iodine pills. And that iodine goes all in their thyroid and prevents the radioactive iodine from going in there. They just want the permission to give it to them in a case of an emergency. I'm almost certain. I'd be flabbergasted if they're being given anything now because they're next to the plant. That would be a scandal and it should be stopped.